my career. I definitely want to push on and just keep the momentum going.
I'm always in full support of whatever he does, so long as it's bearable.
Conor Benn is smart and does his job right, and exhausts the older guy. Maybe he fights Conor Benn for a third time if Conor Benn wins, because that trilogy's there if Ben wins, in my view.
But it's 1-1, and there'll be a lot of money, I'm sure, when the dust has settled, to go again for a trilogy fight in 2026.
Conor Benn has officially accepted the trilogy fight against Chris Eubank Jr. set for 2026. The news is confirmed, and fans are now focused on what this third encounter will bring. Expectations are high as the countdown to the next chapter in this rivalry begins.
I didn't stay disciplined. Conor Benn lost the fight. Because of me, it was me versus me, and I lost the fight. It wasn't necessarily anything he done.
Adam Smith believes the trilogy fight carries huge money and high pressure. He clearly feels for Chris Eubank Jr. and acknowledges how challenging it was. Conor Benn boxed the fight of his life under real pressure, and avoiding another loss was crucial. Fans are watching closely to see how both will handle the next chapter.
In the trilogy fight, and maybe we just leave it at there. You know, the father's had 2 and they've had 2, and it's 1 each, and maybe that's a nice way to finish it. But yeah, I feel for Chris tonight. I'm really happy for Conor, because I thought he boxed the fight of his life under real pressure, actually, because another loss would have been very difficult for him.
Turki Al-Sheikh confirms the trilogy is officially on and praises both fighters for an amazing fight. He highlights that boxing always has a winner and a loser, and fans should expect another intense showdown. The announcement builds anticipation and sets the stage for what promises to be a thrilling contest in 2026.
Everything doing amazing fight, but this is the boxing. There is one winner and there is loser. But next I want...
The Wade concept doubts a trilogy makes sense after the previous fight. He notes Chris Eubank Jr. gave everything in the first fight and had nothing left to give. Despite this, Conor Benn is pushing for it, showing his determination to settle unfinished business and keep fans talking about the rivalry.
Says he wants to come back, maybe do the trilogy. I don't think there's any shot in hell they do a trilogy after that fight. There ain't no way you do a trilogy there. That doesn't make any sense. Because what happened in this fight showed me that the first fight was Chris Eubank Jr. left everything in that first fight. He had nothing left to give.
Dominic Ingle admits the fight was underwhelming and disappointing for him. He praises Conor Benn for getting the win fairly, but criticizes Chris Eubank Jr. for not showing up at his best. Fans might be frustrated, but the trilogy gives a second chance for redemption and a proper display of skill.
Fortunately for me, the fight didn't live up to the expectations. I'm extremely underwhelmed how they've pulled that off. Very, very, very poor fight. Disappointing. It came alive in the last round. That's it. The last round it happened. And Conor Benn got the win, you know, rightly so.
Derek Chisora questions the need for a trilogy and suggests the first 2 fights should stand as they are. He emphasizes finality, but the announcement confirms fans will still see one more clash. Expectations are high for a proper conclusion to this rivalry.
It was great, but are we going to see that again? Do you want to see that again? No. It's done 1-1, that's it, leave it like that.
Liam Goff believes the trilogy is unnecessary and criticizes Chris Eubank Jr. for a poor performance. He praises Conor Benn's chance to reclaim form at welterweight and points out the challenges ahead. Fans are reminded that both fighters must step up to make the trilogy meaningful.
Been done now twice. We should never see a trilogy, and honestly, Chris Eubank Jr., I don't know what he does. He looked awful. Absolutely awful in there. As for Conor Benn, listen, if you can get back down to welterweight, get back down there and see what you can do.
Eddie Hearn emphasizes that a trilogy is not strictly necessary, yet acknowledges Conor Benn as the rising star of British boxing. Filling Tottenham twice demonstrates his drawing power and charisma in the ring. Hearn reminds fans that while Conor has explosive talent, intelligence and focus round by round are key for him to truly dominate. The comments highlight that even though Chris Eubank Jr. is a tough opponent, Conor has momentum on his side and fans should watch closely as he continues to mature and assert himself as a major force in the division.
No need for a trilogy, no?
No, we want to move back there. Conor's the new star of British boxing, you know. I mean, look, he's filled Tottenham twice and, you know, he needed to be a bit smarter there. You know how exciting he is, but he just needed every round. I was just saying to him, just concentrate, please.
Nigel Ben makes it clear that the trilogy discussion is finished for him and that the legacy of the Ben family does not require another fight. He respects Chris Eubank Jr., but focuses on maturity and moving forward rather than dwelling on past rivalries. His comments reflect a broader view that some battles are better left concluded, and that public perception and family legacy matter as much as in-ring results. While fans crave the drama of a trilogy, Nigel reminds everyone that some victories are already defined, and sometimes the most strategic approach is to look ahead rather than repeat history.
Oh, it's over with. I don't think, we beat the Eubanks. It doesn't bother me. I'm a bit more mature than that.
The grandchildren ain't having the sort of trilogy of the legacy.
No, we don't want that no more, mate. It's over with. Done. Finished.
Dave Allen is brutally honest about the situation, recognizing Conor Benn's win while pointing out that Chris Eubank Jr. was not at his peak. He stresses that Conor is not yet a top-tier champion and calls the level of competition into question. Fans are reminded that while victories count, legacy and actual skill level determine greatness. Allen also evokes nostalgia by referencing Nigel Ben in 1990, showing how standards have shifted and how the current generation has challenges that past champions might have easily dominated. His commentary encourages reflection on the evolving nature of boxing and the pressure on Conor to prove himself consistently.
Can't take anything away from it. He lost to a faded Eubank, and then he just beat a shot to bits one. That don't make that. He's not 147. He's not 147 champion elect on the back of that.
No, can he win a world title at 147 now, though?
Maybe, but the champions aren't. They're not A-level champions. They're like the B-level champions. Barrios, Crocker, they're very good fighters, but they're not great fighters. But I'm still not sure he'll beat him. I don't think Conor Benn's a fantastic boxer. Nigel Ben, 1990, Nigel Ben would have flattened Chris Eubank Jr. in one round tonight.
Eddie Hearn praises Conor Benn for boxing smart and controlling every round. He points out that schoolwork in the ring and body work made a decisive difference. The win is massive considering Conor moved up from welterweight to middleweight to avenge a prior loss. Hearn emphasizes that this is a significant moment for the Ben family, showcasing Conor's growth and his ability to execute strategy under pressure. Fans are reminded that victories are not just about power, but intelligence, timing, and learning from past mistakes. Conor demonstrated all of this and left a statement for his future opponents.
Schooling, really. He won every round, dropped it. I mean, 10 more seconds, the fight's over. Different kind of fight, obviously, to the first fight, but needed to be. Needed to box smart and not use his emotions in there. I thought he boxed really well, busted him up to the body, and yeah, massive win for a welterweight to come up to middleweight and avenge that defeat and finally get a victory for the Ben family in the 4th episode.
Sam Jones highlights Chris Eubank Jr.'s stubbornness and his likely desire for a trilogy despite mixed public opinion. He suggests that while Eubank might feel motivated for another fight, the general audience may not embrace it. This perspective underlines the tension between fighter pride and fan reception. The commentary acknowledges the drama and intrigue surrounding a potential trilogy, but tempers expectations, showing that even though Chris Eubank Jr. wants to prove himself again, public support is a crucial factor in whether the third fight truly captivates. Fans are left questioning if another battle will ignite excitement or fall flat.
Look, Eubank's stubborn, isn't he? He's probably going to look at that and think, I can't go out kind of like that. And he'll probably decide he wants a trilogy. But I personally don't. I can't see the third one washing with the public. Do you know what I mean? I don't think the public like.
Johnny Nelson highlights the strategic importance of weight and preparation in boxing, and explains that Chris Eubank Jr. put himself at a disadvantage by overextending or mismanaging his training for the previous fight. Conor Benn knew what he could achieve and used the lessons from the past to maintain control and capitalize on Eubank's mistakes. This shows that in boxing, it is not just skill, but also tactical thinking and discipline that determine the outcome. Nelson emphasizes that anyone who neglects these aspects risks serious consequences in the ring. Conor's awareness and careful planning allowed him to exploit the gaps and assert dominance without unnecessary risk, showing maturity beyond his years and solidifying his reputation.
I'm not sure what I can get away with from the last fight. For Chris, the pendulum is, he's rinsed himself down that much, he's thinking he can do it again. As I said, anybody can get down to the weight, it's what you can do at the weight. Boxing's the worst place to be if you aren't going to put yourself at a disadvantage, because it's the only place you can legally get killed. And so what Chris did was, Chris depleted any advantage he had.
Oladipo raises important points about the challenges fighters face with age and weight changes, noting that Chris Eubank Jr. moving to middleweight again is risky. He stresses that Conor Benn should focus on returning to 147 pounds, where he is most effective and can target significant matchups. Oladipo mentions potential opponents like Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney, and Lewis Crocker as exciting opportunities for Conor to prove himself on a global stage. His analysis underscores that weight management, strategy, and smart matchmaking are just as critical as talent. By navigating these factors wisely, Conor can build a stronger legacy while avoiding unnecessary physical risks that could compromise his career and the integrity of the fights.
Doesn't happen just because of the age and the weight difference as well. The idea of asking Chris to try and make middleweight again is crazy. And for Conor Benn, he needs to go back down to 147. I don't know if he can make welterweight, but that's where he should go because there are so many big fights against a few loudmouth Americans, Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney. There's a guy in Ireland called Lewis Crocker who's got a world.
Carl Froch observes that Chris Eubank Jr.'s approach is thoughtful and measured, taking his time to analyze and articulate his strategy. While he sometimes over-explains, it shows a level of intelligence and intent in the ring. Froch's insight highlights that not every moment of a fight is about raw aggression. Calculated thinking can influence outcomes and provide an edge. The commentary reminds fans that boxing is as much a mental game as it is physical, and the ability to communicate and strategize effectively is part of what separates elite fighters from the rest. Chris's careful pacing may reflect respect for Conor Benn's abilities, while demonstrating his desire to execute his plan perfectly.
You know what Chris is like, he takes his time, which isn't a bad thing. He tries to be articulate and he sort of overspoke the point he was making for a change.
The Conor Benn versus Chris Eubank Jr. Trilogy announcement for 2026 has set the boxing world alight, and fans are buzzing with anticipation. Everything is on the line, from legacy to bragging rights, as both fighters have a chance to cement their names in British boxing history. Conor Benn showed discipline, learned from past mistakes, and capitalized on Eubank's missteps to claim victory previously. But Chris Eubank Jr. is unlikely to take that lying down and will come prepared to prove himself in a big way. The age and weight dynamics add intrigue, with Benn expected to focus on 147 pounds and Eubank Jr. trying to navigate challenges to remain competitive. This fight promises tension, skill, and drama as both fighters chase glory. Who is mentally stronger, more determined, and better prepared to handle the pressure will define the outcome. Do you think Conor Benn will dominate again, or will Chris Eubank Jr. shock the world? Let us know your predictions in the comments below.